Hello, my name is Keith Reese, and I'm going to tell you about a part of the SA family story that many of you may not know. Way back in the dark ages, Brad Smith and I were research directors at BK Dynamics across the river in Maryland. Well, as luck would have it, Mr. B and Mr. K had a falling out and split, and so did Brad and I. Being astute entrepreneurs, Brad and Diane soon created Strategic Analysis, which became a monumental success and continues in daughter Lindsay's capable hands. Later, in 2000, I joined Brad, and we created, let's call it a branch, namely Smart Transitions LLC, with me as president. Now the Smiths' empire contained a new capability, namely that of the invention and production of actual systems. We soon outgrew our Arlington quarters and moved to Vienna, Virginia. Our business was quite varied, with clients such as the CIA, FBI, Army, U.S. Customs, NRO, private concerns, and DARPA. I'm going to highlight a few of our interesting works. One area was the creation of systems that produce high-temperature superconductivity. Sorry for the mouthful. But this was a nifty bit of technology that does an incredible job of creating vast bandwidth and clarity in cell communications and other more interesting applications like ours. Amazingly, in minutes, our communications devices cool down from room temperature to liquid nitrogen temperature, which is a chilly minus 321 degrees Fahrenheit, all in a very little volume, which mostly resembles an attaché case. Don't ask about the clients, but considering the disguise, the gear, you can probably guess. Each system was tested in ST's IC-approved RF chamber, a very small claustrophobic skiff. In ST's lab, each case was fitted with thermal and electronics packages and extensively bench tested to assure proper functionality when eventually taken into the field. Then came some exciting work for a U.S. government customer who needed us to design, build, and fly a sensor system on a P-3 aircraft that could detect and pinpoint faint signals from 10,000 feet. Of course, I can't say what those signals were, but they show up all too frequently in Colombia. Our complete system was also prepared to detect a certain type of mischievous vessel engaging in illegal crossing into the United States territorial waters. Here you can see 4 linear phased array antennas arranged to assure total coverage in all directions beneath the aircraft. By the way, up is down here. To the right of the antenna assembly, you can see the entire signal processing package. By the way, this was only one of the instances in which regular SA folks contributed their talents to ST projects. Here, the programming of software resident inside the box. With the aircraft crew and the covert ranges all set for the flight tests over Florida, ST folks prepared the Vista system and conducted a final performance check on the tarmac of NAS Corpus Christi prior to the installing inside the Customs Zone P3. ST was involved in numerous sensor-oriented programs. This example is a ground-pegged acoustic sensor contracted by the DMEA to provide U.S. base and encampment security. The hardware was manufactured by another company, but ST provided software that accepted signals from an array of these gadgets placed along the perimeter of a safeguarded area. Our software not only detected incursions but pinpointed them and generated speed values. We also produced acoustic and magnetometer-based systems for detecting troops and notably 105mm shell-based IEDs. There were other sensor systems too. Well, let me add that a customer notion involving space, which is where most of my prior activities centered, gave ST the opportunity to test and set up detection gear next to the launch pad at the Cape in order to observe a certain emission generated by an accelerating rocket. This one carrying a GPS satellite atop a USAF Delta IV. In this exercises, it was an SA regular who got to go. ST's largest program arose from an idea I had floating around in my head ever since my PhD work at Duke. After joining Brad and looking for some way to move forward with it, how coincidental it was that Brad suggested a fellow physicist named Frank Patton, who happened to do his PhD work under Walter Gordy, as did I. And this is amazing. Frank occupied the same alcove and desk and operated his equipment exactly where I did just a few years later. Frank cleared the way, and the Mission Adaptable Chemical Spectrometer, MACS, was born, and DARPA would obtain a new mechanism to immediately detect trace chemicals from the air or from vapors emitted from heated solids. MACS can also be used in numerous applications, as you can see suggested on this chart. Without boring you with too much technical stuff, this system represents about 3 orders of magnitude volume and size reduction from laboratory scale spectrometers that have some of MACS's functionality. This was hugely exciting and lent ST prestige and gave DARPA director Tony Tether a wonderful film clip to play at one of the LA-based DARPA fests. MACS ingests a tiny whiff of air that may contain volatile, inorganic, or organic molecules. It then determines which molecules are present and their concentrations. We took on Richard Eden, a longtime DARPA consultant, and I also recruited a friend from Duke, Frank DeLucia, to force his elephant-sized sample cell at Ohio State into a little box about the same size as our HTS systems, and with room to spare for our electronics and thermal control systems too. MACS garnered 2 U.S. patents, by the way. I think the cigars then were made to order, and they're even more appropriate today on this wonderful occasion. Let me personally thank Brad, Diane, Lindsay, and all my friends still at ST and otherwise, as well as my 2 principal ST compadres, Tom Edmondson and Tyler Gray. My association with you all has been one of the highlights of my professional career. Happy, happy, happy 35th anniversary.